My name's Paul Balser. I'm chairman of the board of Hudson Guild, and I'm a founding director of Waterfront Alliance. We're here because we're talking about the Harbor Camp program that a friend of mine and I started almost 10 years ago. The goal is to take and help these kids, and by helping the kids help their parents have a better life. To do that, there has to be some form of daycare and summer camp that is combined with life experience expansion, like going on the water.
It's very important that the kids get out on the water, just because a lot of them come from the inner city and they don't really know what the city looks like from the outside and in. You can tell that they're having a blast. When we first got on the boat, they were a little nervous, they were a little sketched out, and now we've been on the boat for a little bit over an hour and they don't want to go. I'm sure they don't want to go.
When you're on the water, you can feel fresh wind and it might splash on you, but when it splashes on you, it kind of feels kind of good.
We started off with, I think, a couple of hundred kids the first year. We're now doing thousands per year, and in the aggregate, we've done 20,000. Love to see us better than double it in the next 10 years. Certainly, I'm prepared to support it.
We're at the Port Imperial Ferry Terminal in Weehawken, New Jersey. And this is an important building to me in the development of the waterfront. It's one of the first major transportation hubs that included ferry transit in connecting New York and New Jersey. I began life, or my career, as a structural engineer, designing buildings and bridges and structures of that type. But I'd done some scuba diving in the Virgin Islands when I was a teenager. I figured somebody must need an engineer under the water to look at building structures and foundations and piers and dams. So with that wonderful image of Jacques Cousteau in mind, I went out selling services as an engineer, structural engineer diver. In the 1980s, there was this sort of rediscovery of the waterfront. So if everyone woke up, turned around and said, hey, there's water back there. So there's been much more focus on how we transform all the old abandoned waterfront into useful waterfront for people. We're building parks on the waterfront. We're building residential developments. We're trying to merge that with the commercial interests in the working waterfront. It's all necessary. All these interests have to work and live together. We've worked with the Waterfront Alliance in developing design standards and in goals and some of the missions on where we want to take the use of the waterfront. So they've been a great partner throughout all of this.
Plus Pool is a water filtering floating pool in the East River. For a long period of time, and we haven't really been swimming in the river in New York City since I think 1936 or 1939 is when the last pools closed down in the river. Once you start to actually swim in the water and interact with it, your perception of your relationship with the water and the city you live in just changes fundamentally.
I didn't know before I started working on this project about the CSOs that are in the river or what makes our water dirty or any of these things, and I think that as we try to educate the public and raise awareness and promote water stewardship, it's important to remember the things that we didn't know.
So it's a way where through design you can actually engage with the environment, you can show people that the river is actually pretty incredible, you can bring people into the water. We can also start teaching people about what's in the water, about how to swim, about what it takes to actually design part of the city. After 10, 20 years, I mean, hopefully we're looking at a catalyst for a complete change in the waterfront as a whole. And hopefully we did that with a fun thing.